Greetings, everybody, from the dank basement. Saludos, amigos, desde el sótano secreto aquí en el estado de Minnesota. I am, tu, Tio Squinty, your Uncle Squinty. And today we are doing a review, una revisión, of Pfalzer Duwak Dulcis. Dulcis, sweet. Yeah, sweet snuff. But is it really sweet? Is it any good? Or is it just gimmicky? Let's find out. This is sold by Artisan Snuff. Not a surprise that it is packaged in the standard Toke screw top tin, which I like very much. Keeps the snuff fresh. And what do we have in the tin? Well, let's run barefoot through it with our clean fingertips. What we discover is the moisture is just slightly above medium. It packs into the tin a little bit like child's modeling clay, but it doesn't make really a pill or a Prilla when you pinch it together, a Prisa when you put it together. Kind of falls apart. The grind is medium, tending towards fine, which is very common. It's actually the standard Toke grind, actually, that I'm used to from most of the Toke snuffs. In the tin, it smells like kind of like a Virginia-based pipe tobacco. It's a very pleasant smell. It smells sweet in the tin. So let's take a pinch, and then I'm going to tell you why I can no longer put music on my videos on this channel. Something that is really making me sad. Here we go. Are you ready? I know you are. Let us take a large pinch of the snuff up the nose. Oh yeah. Sweet. Nicely sweet. I'm actually getting a little hint of honey or something that smells like honey. But mostly what I smell is, I would guess, Virginia style tobacco. Maybe a little burley, of course, because we expect that in nasal snuff. Most of them are burley based. But to me, when I was a kid, my mother used to have me open her packs of cigarettes for her because she had hooks for hands. No, I'm kidding. My mother didn't have hooks for hands. She was just busy with her hands, and so I would open her packs of Virginia Slims cigarettes. And I always loved the smell that came from the cigarette pack. I always thought that it was a wonderful smell, and I began to love the smell of unburned tobacco. Well, that's what this reminds me of. It is a decidedly tobacco scent. Little bit of a burn. There is some throat drip, back drip, that is not confrontational, although I think that if I used a lot of this, I might irritate my soft palate a little bit, which means the pH for my body chemistry is just a little high. It's good. While we evaluate the nicotine, which always takes a couple of minutes, here I'm even going to do a second pinch, I want to talk about YouTube, copyright, and music. In the days when I worked in professional radio, stations paid for the right to use music through two different music copyright and royalty administration organizations. One of them was BMI, or Broadcast Music International, and the other one was ASCAP, the American Society of Composers, Arrangers, and Publishers. Stations would have to pay a small fee to use the music, and it was based on the number of times the song got played during a broadcast day and the number of potential listeners based on audits from Arbitron and other radio ratings companies, and also the coverage as indicated by the station's engineering reports. Okay. In a small radio station, that privilege to use that music might cost $300 or $400 a year, $500 a year. In other words, it wasn't a huge expense for the stations. Now, with about 90% of the world's copyright and publishing rights held by 4 different companies, most notably Sony, but there are others, they are trying to increase the costs to radio stations radically. So what might have cost a station $500 a year 30 years ago is going to cost $50,000, $100,000 a year. They're really trying to gouge people who present copyrighted music. Now, YouTube is definitely on the bandwagon with this. I recently, on my goofball edition Pinch With Ya Squinty, used 2 pieces of copyright music and got called out on it. YouTube even put the name and the publisher and so on in the description box. I do not know what YouTube would do to me financially for using, I'm half expecting to get a registered letter in the mail from some attorney saying, you need to pay $5,000 because you use this song on your YouTube channel because you have more than 2,500 subscribers. Something like that. I don't have that kind of money. I'm not going to take that kind of risk. So, unless it is music I have composed and performed myself on this channel, and therefore own the copyright, or things like my MIDI piano roll music, which is definitely in the public domain, I'm not going to be able to use music on my channel, and that's a shame. Yes, I know there are channels on YouTube that routinely present music, but you'll notice in a lot of the reaction videos, they only play 2 or 3 seconds of the song. And this is because they can do that under what is called the Creative Commons license fair use policy. But if I try to play more than that, I'm going to take a copyright strike. So I'm just going to avoid any legal hassles. I do not want to be taken to court. So I'm not going to be playing music anymore on my channel, except during the rare times when I can present you music that I myself have recorded and produced and written. So that's that. Let's talk about the quality and the nicotine. This is nothing particularly spectacular as far as quality or aroma, but it is good. Not going to give this a 5 out of 5 on the Squinty Scale, where 1 is disgusting and 5 is delicious. No, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5, but it is very solid, and if you like a sweet, natural tobacco, this could be your all-day, everyday snuff. I like this. Throat drip is not terribly confrontational, a little bit stingy on the soft palate. I suspect the pH is just a hair higher than what I am accustomed to. But now let's talk about the nicotine. Now remember, nicotine level is fairly subjective. People have different body chemistries. You may take more sniffs of a given snuff than I would in a given period of time. Maybe you take larger quantities as you sniff. Now I just took a fairly fat pinch, divided between my 2 nostrils. Yes, I only have 2 nostrils. And to me, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 would be absolutely no nicotine, i.e. grape sugar-based sniffing powders like the Tiger brand from Bernard's, herbal snuffs like Dulakia's herbal snuffs, or 6 Photos India in a box, red and green, all the way up to 10, which would be a snuff that probably has been augmented with either a lot of rustica or even artificial chemical nicotine added to it, as I think is done with some of the Snuff snuffs. This rate's a very solid 6, and I have a fairly high tolerance for nicotine. So, on the Squinty Scale, 1 to 5, 1 being disgusting, 5 delicious, this is a 4 out of 5, 6 out of 10 for nicotine. Pfalzer, sometimes called Pfalzer Land, Duwak, Dulcis, Duwak Dulcis. I am going to put the manufacturer's description in my description box. as always, hit that like button. Come on. I've got a fragile ego. It makes me feel better if you just hit the like button, please. I don't want to cry. I'm whining like Joel Gandia. Ah, Joel, I know you're seeing this. You shouldn't have whined. Yeah, and press the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. It's a freebie. No ads on my channel unless YouTube forces me to run ads because I've used copyrighted music. Hit the notification bell icon. Set up your notifications so that you can get advised when I upload new content. And of course, please comment. Even if you're going to tell me I'm a royal pain in the ass, go ahead and comment. I love to hear from you. I love to interact with my viewers. And I appreciate all of that. Until I see you the next time with another fabulous nasal snuff review, I remain your loyal Uncle Squinty. Thanks for watching.